Today, on Be Something Wonderful, manifesting within a deadline, jumping to the timeline of wish fulfilled. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video today. It really comes from a question that I had in a session, and also I noticed there were some questions on the channel about, Tom, what about when there's a deadline looming? What about when there's how do I manifest within a deadline? I'm just not sure. As I want to talk about this today and more. I want to talk about a video a few weeks ago now, and maybe several weeks ago now, where this client, this subscriber, who is also, by the way, now a client, all right? She had reached out now for sessions. I want to talk about how she jumped timelines. If you remember, it was a project that she needed to get done before a trip. So that was the deadline before this trip was coming. And she didn't know how she was going to get it done, right? She was on the timeline of it's not done, it's not done. How am I going to get it done, right? She was telling that story. And as she moved from that old story to her new story that I'll get it done, that it always gets done, that everything works out for me, she jumped to the timeline where the project was already done. It was done 9 months ago. The exact project she wanted, she had no recollection of ever doing it. So I want to talk about this today because remember, when you talk about a deadline, you create the reality of a deadline. Do you see it? You're implying that there's only one possible reality. This reality with a deadline, after which your dreams and your desires are dead. Do you see it? That's what you're implying, that after that time, it's dead. If it's not fulfilled before then, my desires and my wishes are dead. And remember, they can never be dead. Right? The fulfillment in your desires and your wish fulfilled. Remember, when you have a desire or a wish, it's already fulfilled. And that's non-linear. That's beyond time and space. So I want to hit this idea and more today. Remember, when you talk about a deadline, when you create that idea, then it cannot exist without it being missed. Do you see it? The whole idea of a deadline is that if you miss it, you miss the opportunity. So you create the deadline, and a deadline can only exist if you miss it. Do you get it? We're going to hit this today. So remember this client. It was a remarkable story, and now we're chatting about other things in our sessions. But I didn't know. She goes, I'm the one that sent that email and that you did a video on, right? And remember, she was saying, I'm behind. I'm not focused and organized. I won't get it done. That was her old story, right? Where it was not done. It was not done, right? And then she switched. She changed to the new story. I will get it done. I always get it done. It's already done. It always works out. Imagining it done. But remember, she still followed the script. She still got up in the morning and said, I'm going to bang out this presentation. Do you see it? She still got it. As she was imagining that it's done, that she always gets it done, she still woke up and followed the script and started to work on the project. When what she found when she went into the files is that it was already done. When? 9 months before. She jumped to a new parallel reality, a film or identity, a script where it was already done. It's done 9 months ago. There she is on the new timeline. The presentation she needed, all of it with the edits, exactly what she needed for this trip. And she had no recollection, still has no recollection of ever doing it. So that was already done. She moved to a timeline where she did it. That's powerful. I attached the video so you can watch it again. It's such a terrific metaphysical masterpiece, a masterclass in manifestation and jumping realities with a deadline. So I want to hit this. Remember, your wishes are not fulfilled in time, but now. They're not fulfilled in time, they're fulfilled right now. God knows nothing of time, only now, only unity, only oneness, only completion, only fulfillment. If God knew of time, that would imply separation. That would imply non-fulfillment. That would imply non-unity. And that's impossible. Do you see it? Before Abraham, I am. God always exists. It's just the isness of reality. We create the idea of time, right? The complete and absolute fulfillment of your desire and wish exists here and now, or doesn't exist at all. It must exist fulfilled here and now. To desire it means it's already fulfilled, right? To wish it means that wish is already fulfilled. So, and non-existence and non-fulfillment is impossible. Why? Because God is, and everything else is an experience of that isness. God is. It's not impossible for God to not be, right? So non-existence, meaning non-fulfillment, meaning non-unity, is impossible. Do you get this, guys? This is big. I've talked about this in many different ways, but we're going to really unpack it today. Remember, time and separation is an experience of reality. It's not reality. It's your horizontal linear experience of that ultimate reality. There's only unity and fulfillment right here and right now. Your imagined end, your desired end, what you're imagining is here and now or doesn't exist at all. And as we said, non-existence is impossible. God just is. So if you have the desire, if you have the wish, it is fulfilled now. It's already fulfilled. A desire cannot exist without it being fulfilled. The desirer can't exist without the desired. The desired can't exist without the desire. It's all fulfilled, right? I am not is impossible. Before Abraham, I am. Before time, before space, before limitation, before separation, before deadlines. It's just I am. The law, the absolute God or isness, God with all things are possible. With the law, with the absolute, with the isness of God, all things are possible. Right? We create the idea of impossibility or separation in linear time. A deadline implies non-fulfillment or non-unity or I am not. Right? It implies that that's possible. Right? That's what a deadline implies. It implies that non-fulfillment, non-unity or I am notness is possible. Remember, a deadline is just another condition or experience of reality. It's not reality. Do you see it? Deadlines and other ideas of linear time are assumed limitations that have no reality, no relevance outside of your horizontal linear experience of reality. Right? And, I think one of you said, well, linear time's not irrelevant to the bills that need to be paid. I get it. I get what you're saying, and I feel your frustration. I've been there. I know. But when you do that, you put those bills there. You put that obstacle there. You put that unwanted reality there, right? God is always on time. Your wish, desire to imagine end includes the plan of fulfillment in the 3D linear experience. Hear it. God's always on time. Your wish, your desire, your imagine end includes the plan of fulfillment. It's done. It includes how it unfolds in 3D reality. That's all included in the seed, right? The seed includes the plan of fulfillment. We've talked about that in many videos. A deadline implies, hear this, there's only one possible script, parallel alternative reality, after which your wish or desire is dead. That's what a deadline means. It's dead, right? Your desire and wish cannot exist without its fulfillment. It's never dead. There's only life and more life. Do you see it? We create that idea. The power of your imaginal act or desired end is what it implies, fulfillment, on time, now. Do you see it? That it's in your desired end. Don't focus on, the deadline doesn't exist, just fulfillment. You create it when you desire it to be fulfilled within a certain deadline. Now you create the deadline, and the deadline cannot exist unless it's missed. And so you create the reality of missing the deadline. Do you see it? Invisible states, Neville Goddard says, when properly rearranged, will externalize what they imply. For the potency of every imaginal act is in its implication. What does your imaginal act imply? Fulfillment or the possibility of non-fulfillment, the possibility of missing a deadline? Do you see it? That's powerful. So when you assume and imagine a deadline, you create it. And a deadline cannot exist, the experience of it, unless it's missed. Or else it's not a deadline. Unless you miss it, it's not a deadline. It doesn't exist. Right? You create the experience of it. Here you are, right? Past frame, current frame, future imaginal frame. Well, you want to imagine that your wish is fulfilled, but you put a deadline here. You create a deadline, a reality, a current script where you miss the fulfillment. Do you see it? When you create a deadline, when you focus on a deadline, when you talk about deadlines, you create that in your reality. You are now lighting up that unwanted script where a deadline exists and non-fulfillment in the future exists, in the, quote, imagined future. Do you see it? Instead, focus on fulfillment and already being and having that which you desire to have. And time and deadlines become irrelevant. That deadline dissolves. It's not there, and you just have fulfillment. Do you see it? You're putting the deadline there. It's all you. Just like that client. I put that video down below. Remember, you're shifting from this timeline, right, to the timeline of fulfillment. But when you talk about deadlines and have to manifest it within a deadline, you create a reality, a script, where there's a deadline to be missed. And then you must miss it, otherwise it's not a deadline. This is so powerful today. Instead, imagine fulfillment. Just being in fulfillment, that implies that it's fulfilled on time. On time, the plan of fulfillment's within there. It's the perfect time. Having that which you wish to have now. And then time and deadlines and linear time, it all becomes irrelevant, right? Manifest within a deadline, jumping to the timeline of wish fulfilled. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me and liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for joining our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. Thank you for joining us on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us there at Tom Kearin, and for joining our membership channel, where there's more content coming out, and other videos coming on that, plus the live stream in a few weeks exclusively on the membership channel. I will be coming to you live on August 6th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the morning Pacific Coast Standard Time, right here in Las Vegas in our studios, to answer your questions that you have sent at info@besomethingwonderful.com. We're still open. Keep sending your questions. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to do. If you haven't joined the channel, join. And if you joined, thank you for joining. Until next time, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom at Be Something Wonderful here in Las Vegas. We'll see you soon.